have a voice. My voice is back. I won't use it too much in case I jinx that, but I am back. Happy Vlogmas Day. I have no idea. I am wearing a half, can you call it a half finished object? I'm wearing my jumper in pieces because I wanted to show you the update on my jumper. It's been a bit of a traumatic experience. My math calculations all went out the window because apparently when you're sick and you're flying, your tension will change dramatically. And I've also done a sleeve, but it doesn't look like it's going to fit at all, despite the fact I've done the same sleeve pattern 4 times, which would be like 8 sleeves, and for some reason this one just doesn't look right. So, welcome to the chaos that is my life of knitting. So, update. I'm not really sure how to show you. Let's try. I need a stool, a step stool. Maybe I can shrink you. Okay, so this part is done. I steeked. This part is steeked. It was very scary, only because well, 2 reasons. First of all, I'm not 100% sure that this would fit. And second, I didn't do the crochet securing. I did a sewing machine one, which I've never done before. So, okay, this will fit nicer when it's actually formed into a jumper. I haven't done the neck ribbing yet, but it's only like 5 rows. This will join with buttons. So if you were following along from, I think the first Vlogmas, but possibly my normal episode, you will know I wanted to do this part first. Instead of starting from the bottom and working up like a normal pattern and a normal person, I thought I'm going to try all these new things. Instead of doing it flat, I do it in the round. I wanted to steek the armholes because I've never done it. I wanted to do this part in the round instead of flat. And then I did a provisional cast on, knit up, did all this, and then on the plane to the UK last 2 weeks ago, I knitted down. And it is bizarrely shaped. My gauge changed dramatically from being on an aeroplane and from being sick. It just got much looser. So all the calculations I had made went out the window, and it's looser. So I did the decreases, which would have been increases in the original pattern, and it made the weirdest shape. If you watch my last Vlogmas, it looks like a balloon. I am not 100% sure. I still don't think. Ooh, sorry plant. I'm still not sure what the shape is doing, if that's a good one or not. And I don't know if you can see it. So the shaping goes like this, and then it goes to the ribbing. Well, when I was looking at it and I started the ribbing, you do some decreases, which I did, and it looked massive. It just looked like a huge bag. It was like 32 inches wide, and I thought this is gonna look awful. So I did all this on 3mm, and then I went to 2.75, and then I thought, no, that's wrong. I went to 2.25 and did 3 inches of ribbing on 2.25, and it's very tight. Shocking, I know. I almost decreased the amount of stitches. I'm so glad I didn't, because I would have decreased it to the amount I did for my sleeve. That would be insane. I think it's only tight because my bind off is tight. I did actually go up to a 2.5 to bind off, but I think I should have gone up to like a 3. It's not like impossible to get on or anything, it's a bit tight. And also it brings it in a lot so that this poofs over. But I have been looking at pictures online, not of this jumper, but of general 1940s jumpers, and they do have this sort of excess ballooning fabric. So it's not the end of the world. My problem is this section. Also, tell me what you think. Do you think that the shape looks okay? It's supposed to be more like shapely, but yeah, that didn't happen. I love this part, but although it does go across here, it doesn't quite go across here so well. It's definitely more stretched out. And the sleeve that is supposed to fit in this hole just doesn't look like it's going to. Right, the hole is right down there. I don't know how. And as I said, I have done this many times with my other jumpers, and the sleeves were not the problem. Everything else was the problem, but not the sleeves. So if we pretend somehow that goes in there. Ooh, that's tight and very warm. I just had a bath. So this is kind of what it's going to look like. But my worry is this. Look at that. What the is going on? So I basically don't know what to do now. I don't know, maybe I'll like try and seam it in and see what happens. As I said, this part's blocked. This part is not blocked. This part is. So if I maybe steam block the sleeves, I can then like wow, words. I now have my voice and I can't actually use words. Preliminarily crochet, seam it in loosely and see if it fits. It's gonna be very tight, which is funny because I actually made sure that this wasn't too tight. I made it an inch positive ease. So that's the story, Rory, with the sleeve. I have no idea what's going on at all. I'll insert some footage of my steeking, but yes, here it is. That's about all I have to say. I will check in later and update you on what is going on with this mayhem. Hello. So I have to rip that out. It is way too small. So tricky. Very tricky. Hello! Something very exciting just arrived. I'm excited. I won this on eBay and it's my first German vintage knitting pattern. And not just one, but several. It's an actual like booklet, pamphlet, magazine thing. I am so excited. And I can't really show you the actual patterns because of obviously copyright, but I will give you a little sneaky peek and try not to rip the magazine. Very cool. Yeah, it only wants to see my face. I will do some separate shots of this, but I'm so excited. I can never pronounce it. Tyrolean? Not sure, but it looks like that, which is Austrian. I'm Norwegian. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, some nice unflattering light time. A little update on the sleeves. So, are you ready? Are you ready for Emily's faux pas of the day? You can't have me and knitting and not have like some dumb mistake. But alas, it is done. Basically, when I was deciding on to make the jumper, I thought in advance, I will do this. And I immediately forgot. And I've just found my notes where I wrote a note to myself to say, do this. But of course, I'm like my mother and I have lots and lots of bits of paper piled up in various places to remind myself of stuff that I will never see because it's hidden in a pile of paper. Basically, the measurement I have from here to here is about 13 inches, but the measurement from here around to here is 15 inches. Can't remember what that is in metric, in normal numbers. I always work in the smallest number possible, and with sewing and knitting I always seem to work in inches, but anything else I use centimeters. Anyway, basically the pattern that I made on the jumper, this part fits me well, and when I blocked it and checked it, it was fine. It stretched out to 13 inches, no problem. And I still forgot about the back, and I was supposed to make the back 15 inches, but I didn't. I made the back the same as the front, so it's about 12 inches, but now it's blocked and stretched out. The front is 13 inches and the back is about 13 inches. But that is why when I have my sleeve, which is actually correct, but it's not correct because I have 2 inches missing. I have all this gap because I don't have enough of the jumper. So I have absolutely no idea if you can pick up and add fabric. Like, there must be a way in some shape or form, but I don't know how to do it. I'm very curious if you can seam up the jumper like it is. It's got the armhole. If you can pick up stitches and just knit the sleeve down. I've started the sleeve again separately, but just out of curiosity, if you're doing a pattern like this, vintage pattern, can you just pick up the sleeve? I don't know. But I guess you wouldn't get the poofy part then, like in the, yeah, maybe that's the problem. I don't know. Anyway, so all the calculations I did for the sleeve, and I could not figure out why they didn't work, because they are correct. They are correct. That's why the numbers all work out. It's just that the fabric wouldn't fit because, you know, I messed up the back part. Hold on. So what I have done is I ripped out that 7 inches, oh my throat's going. I ripped out that 7 inches of stockinette that I did and added 14 extra stitches via increases. Up here basically, I just added about an extra 2 inches of, or maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches of knitting, which took a surprisingly long amount of time considering how little extra fabric I added. And you know what I did? You know how when I do flat knitting, I change and I have my pearl needle at a smaller needle than my knitting? Who ripped out the work and then forgot about that and then just did this extra 1 or 2 inches on the wrong needle? That would be me. Ah, it's fine. Oh, my throat's going. So my throat. Oh, doorbell. I am back. I am back with tea for my throat. Just a moment. I wanted to show you this, but the lighting is so rubbish. My new china. Get my face out of it. I will have to try and get better footage of this as well, maybe when there's actual light. Okay, I'll have to wrap this up because, you know, voice is not happy. I don't even know what I was saying. Oh, I hate it when I watch YouTubes and they do that, and now I'm doing it to you. Anyway, all the maths was fine, and that's why that happened. I've added an extra 14 stitches so that it will give me the extra inch on each side that I need, and then hopefully it will fit. I really don't want to reknit all that stockinette again. Okay, I'm gonna go. How beautiful is that? Oh, I'm so in love. Goals, look at that. Oh, the skirt, oh, gone blurry. The skirt, the jumper with the hearts, epic hair. Yes. Oh, look at that little chair. I am so in love. She's got a teapot, which is probably a coffee pot, but let's pretend it's tea. Who doesn't enjoy an absolute minuscule shot? Oh my gosh. Do you know what I love about this is that it says, like, if you have wool that is different to this, make sure you do a test swatch, la la la. Whereas in the English one, it's like, this item must be knit in like Serdar blah 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 or Beehive, you must use it. And here it's like, if you don't have it, that's fine, just do a test swatch. German being... Good morning, welcome to the next day. I have some updates that I was thinking about, and then as soon as I turned the camera on, I've forgotten them. But I can say I have redone the sleeve. I was just about to show you it, but I have just steam blocked it. So it's a bit wet, so I don't really want to put it on right now, but I will in a little bit. But it definitely covers a lot more width than previously, so fingers crossed that's gonna fit. That's what I wanted to say. Yesterday I told you that I had done it wrong in that it was supposed to be different widths on the front and the back. I wanted just to clarify, in the pattern, the actual pattern, that is not the case. It says knit back as front, so I did do that, but going by Squidney's School of Vintage Knitting, she does all of her recipes, like patterns, but they're more like recipes, based off of your measurements. So in order to get it to fit you properly, you go by your measurements. So I should have done 13 and 15, but I didn't. So just wanted to clarify that. What else? Also discovered that the pattern on the picture, I really should have put lip balm on. The pattern on the picture isn't really like what you're going to make quite. It says that your sleeves should be 4 inches and then you do the sleeve cap, but it's quite clear on her arms that it is much longer. The one I've done now is just over 6 inches, and I think it sits roughly about where hers does. It's also supposed to be, I can't even remember, it's meant to be, if you look at the picture of the woman on the pattern, it is significantly longer than the measurements that the pattern actually gives you. I did actually make my jumper longer, as I told you I would, but because I cinched it in so much with the ribbing, it's actually come out smaller. So it's still shorter than I would have preferred, but it's fine. If it really bothers me, then I can just undo the bind off and knit it longer, because the joy of top down, accidental top down, but, well, no, not accidental. I planned it, but anyway, if it bothers me, I can make it longer. But we'll see. I haven't blocked it yet, so who knows? The power of blocking, I could stretch it out a little bit. What else? It's a bit drier now. I also did a different technique on this. So this is the sleeve. So as I said, I did this longer than in the pattern. I did some increases, so I brought it up to 2 inches more fabric than I had before, because it seemed like that was about how much I needed. And then when I got to the top, I followed again Squidney's instructions, because the actual pattern has a different sleeve. But yeah, basically I just wanted this part of the pattern and to follow Squidney's tutorial for the rest of it. But instead of doing Squidney's usual technique for the puff sleeves, which you basically make the puffs as you seam it in, I thought I would try a different technique where you knit 2 together on the very last row, and then when you bind off 2 at a time. Does that make sense? So it makes these, ooh, my iron just turned off. It makes the puff already, so it theoretically should be easier to seam in. We shall find out. I'm hoping to seam this in tonight, and I'm going to try the crochet technique again, because my friend Pauline, which I still haven't figured out, do you pronounce your name like English Pauline, or is it Paulina, or Pauline? Please let me know. I've been avoiding saying your name. But Pauline said about this crochet method when I was having a meltdown over my bunny jumper after hours of seaming and then discovering that it was too big. I had to rip out all the seaming, and then she suggested to try this crochet method, and it's so much faster. Not sure if it's as neat, because my seaming was very neat, I must say, on my regular needle seaming, but I will try the crochet and see if it fits and make sure it all fits and all is well. And if it doesn't look nice, then I can always go in and seam it with a needle and thread, or a needle and wool. But yes, all these new techniques, it's all very fun. So ta-da! Sleeve 1. I am doing that thing that I do when I set a goal and then I start like adjusting the goal and start bringing it forward and try and like do things far too fast for human comfort. This jumper is my New Year's, like destined to be finished for New Year. Not that I'm doing anything, but you know, I like to have a small goal. And now I'm thinking, oh, can I get the second sleeve done by Christmas? Can it be a Christmas jumper? But it is the I don't have my watch on, 21st today. So technically I could potentially do it, but it has to be blocked and then dry. But I do also have some skirts, a skirt that I want to make. And it typically takes me about 2 days of mayhem to do a skirt, because it's a massive circle skirt and it takes lots of sewing, and I always have to triple check what I'm doing, and then, you know, I make mistakes and then I have to fix them. So is life. So that would wipe out 2 days of knitting. So don't know if I'll manage it, but did want to, on the subject of skirts, mention why I am procrastinating. I purchased this rather fun fabric in the summer, I think, and I'm pretty sure I got 5 meters, and it was reduced. It is cotton, I just thought it was fun. So I thought I could make a circle skirt, like a full circle skirt, and then it can go, my petticoat can go underneath, and it'll look fun, and I can twirl around, and all will be giddy and glorious. But then I saw some A-line skirts, and I thought they look very nice, and not just like an A-line skirt, but I think they're called gored or panelled skirts, and then I thought, that could be nice. So then that threw me through a loop, because now I'm not sure. And when I was back in the UK, my mum gave me a bunch of my nan's patterns that she found in her attic. They are either my nan's or my nan's... No, she gave me some knitting patterns and some sewing patterns. I'm pretty sure the sewing patterns are my nan's. The knitting are a combination of potentially my nan's sister or her mother. But I found these in the stash. And these ones seem to be more like gathered, so you basically cut out squares and gather it at the waist. And they look wonderful, but that's not what I was looking for. But then I found this one. And this one specifically says it is a flared for gore skirt. And that's what I'm looking for. And oh yes, and it would look like this. But you know, pictures, they kind of lie sometimes, and they sometimes make these illustrations look really beautiful, but then in reality they're not as wide and not as good. I have to make sure the pieces are there, because obviously it's old. My nan was a lot bigger than me. This is for a bust 40, but obviously I'm just going to do the skirt. So the waist for a size 20 is 32 inches. Yeah, inches. So I can just adjust the pattern a little bit. But that would take lots of adjusting and fiddling around, and I want to get the skirt done for Christmas. And I already have the circle skirt pattern. So, and I also thought I could make it with this fabric and maybe add the bodice from the dress that I really like. What is it called? There's a dress that I've made several of, and I thought I could add the bodice to that. But I do need to check the meterage that is required, because on that dress I can get a gathered skirt and the bodice out of 2 meters. And I believe I have 2 meters of this fabric, but I've never made that skirt before, so. Oh, it's so pretty. So lots of decisions. This I could technically wear, I don't know why I say technically, there's nothing technical about it. This I could wear in winter, it's just general winter, Christmas, festive, but no one's going to stop me in the street in February and say, why are you wearing a Christmas dress? So I think this one I could maybe make after, and I'll make the more festive one as a circle skirt, and try this as the panel skirt. I haven't really sewn anything since the summer, so my sojo has kind of gone a little bit, so I'm trying to get enthusiastic. I did get my sewing machine out to sew up the stitches for the steek, and then I thought, okay, sewing machine is out, I can do this. The ironing board is out, so I just need to get the pattern, lay it all out on the floor. Once I've done that, it might not be as hard to motivate myself. It's just the whole laying out meters and meters of fabric on my floor and crawling around and cutting it out. That takes the time. I also wanted to mention yesterday in my magazine that I got, I briefly showed you in some terrible lighting this amazing heft that I got. eBay, thank you eBay. I really can't tell much about it. I haven't done an extensive research into it, but I did discover that I think, based off of an advertisement in this book, there's only a couple of advertisements. There is a book that was published in 1948 and they're advertising it in this. So the earliest it could be is 1948. And then there was a different ad that had a couple of numbers next to it that said 49. So I'm thinking it could potentially be 1948 or 1949, because it would be very random if you just randomly advertised a book that was published 4, 5, 6 years ago in a magazine. So I think it's 1948 or 1949. And I wanted to show you something that it really pleased me. When you get vintage, I should rephrase this. In my personal experience, when I have purchased or found vintage knitting patterns in English, whether from America, Canada, New Zealand, England, they generally just give you a very small amount of text and it'll just say cast on blah, use needles blah. It might give you the gauge. The jumper I'm doing now, the Star Serenade, that pattern doesn't give you gauge, so you have no idea. It just says knit for until the sleeve is say 4 inches, but it doesn't actually tell you how many rows, how many stitches. Can't even remember if it tells you which wool. But this one has such detail. It says at the very beginning, if you don't have the wool that it's recommended, not to worry, just use a different wool and just make sure that your gauge matches the pattern. The English ones are like, no, if you don't have Sirdar wool, you can't do it. Obviously you can, but it's very different. They also tell you, for example, cast on 25 stitches and knit for 5 centimeters, and you will have this many centimeters in width and this many centimeters in height. So you actually know how wide, how big the pieces are in centimeters when you're knitting the project. This is marvellous. And also some of them have this, I think it's called a schematic. Obviously I should not be talking. Here we go. So it shows you the shape you're making, it shows you at each stage how many centimeters, and you already know how many stitches you'll have in that, but in case you don't, it's in the text. This is amazing. You just don't get that in English patterns. Not ones I've had it, I have anyway. But look at this jumper, or cardigan, or yeah, cardigan. This is currently my favourite, my second favourite, but I love the whole outfit. But I think my favourite is still what's that? Everything I wanted to say. I think so. Maybe I can try on my sleeve. Okay, it still looks a little bit tight, but it didn't look tight when I did before I did the poof. So hopefully that fits. Depending what I do today, you will know or not by the end of this video if it fits. Okay, what else? I really wanted to just do a sit down and have a catch up of everything, but my voice says no, so I will come back to you later and update you. Hello. My husband is talking in the background, so I have to be quick and quite close to you so that you can hear me. But just an update, I have sewn in my sleeve. It's quite tight, not tight. Where I have done the steek, it's quite rough. Rough is the word I want. I've just had hot chocolate and I'm really worried I've got it all over my mouth. I also poured it down my jumper. But luckily it's not all white, so you won't see. Anyway, it's quite rough where I have seamed around where the steek is, so that's not fantastic. I really hope that it softens when I block it. But it fits in the hole and I can move my arm, and the little poof looks really good. I've never done it this way before and I like it. I just now need to finish my next sleeve. This morning I thought I was going to cast on and get going on it, make a start, and oh my gosh, everything that went wrong did. I cast on, and for some reason I cast on, and then instead of going in the round I started knitting backwards and forwards on one needle, and when I looked at it I thought, what am I doing? So I undid that. Then I went back round and I had the wrong number count. Then I realised I had cast on with 3mm needles instead of 2.25, so I had to rip it all out anyway. So I'm going to start that tonight after dinner and make a start and see if I can get it done. Obviously there's no rush, it's just, you know, fun. But yeah, this is hopeful. You can almost imagine it being done. I also did do some work on my skirt today. Christmas skirt. Oh, there's a fruit fly. Christmas skirt. What is happening? I have yarn attached to my hair. I really hope I'm not undoing all of my seaming with, I don't even know where that comes from. Anyway, I did make a start on my skirt and I'm almost there.